But I think one of the best articles or worst articles, depending on your frame of reference, was in the Wall Street Journal. Here's the article about this one. A word of warning on gold. Investor fear may be fading. And this article basically said that the only reason people buy gold is when they're afraid. And what are they afraid of? They're afraid of political uncertainty. They're afraid of, economic collapse or whatever it is. That people were buying gold because they were fearful. But now there's nothing to fear because all of our problems have been solved. The central bankers of the world have solved our problems, and so there's nothing to fear. And because there's nothing to fear, there's no reason to buy gold. So this is the warning from the Wall Street Journal. Right? Don't buy gold because all of our problems are solved. The economy is growing again. We're not going to have a collapse. But what the Wall Street Journal doesn't understand is why do they perceive there's nothing to fear? Why is the economy recovering? Or why does it look like it's recovering? It's because the central banks of the world, particularly the Fed, but not only the Fed, have created so much inflation. The way the Fed has allayed the fears is to paper them over, to bury them beneath a mountain of inflation. They have kept interest rates at zero. They are printing all this money, and that's why people aren't afraid. But what they need to be afraid of is all the money printing, all the inflation. That is ultimately why the price of gold goes up. It's not about uncertainty. It's not about political risk. What motivates individuals to own gold rather than euros or dollars or pounds or yen is inflation, is the idea that the value of fiat currency is going to decline over time and that the interest rate that you're earning is not enough to offset the loss of purchasing power through inflation. And yes, I do agree with the Wall Street Journal that not enough investors are fearful of inflation, but they will be. As the inflation numbers get worse and worse, and as the dollar gets weaker and weaker, more people will wake up to that reality, and they will fear inflation. They might not fear default or collapse. They'll fear all the inflation that the central banks are creating to prevent that from happening. And that is what is going to drive the price of gold much, much higher. The Wall Street Journal hasn't figured that out yet. A lot of people haven't figured that out yet. But when they do, the price of gold is going to be a lot higher. And eventually, these type of stories are going to be replaced with more bullish stories on the price of gold. But I think the price is going to go up a lot more before the naysayers throw in the towel. And one of the reasons that so many people want to believe that the gold rally is false is because they want to believe that the problems have been solved. They want to believe that there's nothing to fear. And a weak gold price will validate that optimism, just the way they want to blame all the bad economic data on the weather. Well, the spring is coming, we're going to thaw out, and so it's going to get warmer. But the data isn't going to improve. The data is only going to get worse.